Hey guys, and welcome to my Chicago White Sox preview. The White Sox haven't been in the playoffs since 2008, and in 2013 and 14 they were bad. In 2013 they had only 63 wins and 99 losses, and last year they had 73 wins and 89 losses. This offseason they added a lot of pieces, including Jeff Samardzija, David Robertson, Melky Cabrera, among others. They definitely have an improved team, but will it be enough? So starting off a catcher is a player from last year, Tyler Flowers. He's a decent power hitter and he is a decent fielder, but he doesn't hit for any average and he doesn't draw any walks. So his value is limited, but he's passable for a starting catcher in the major leagues. And next you have Jose Abreu or Adam LaRoche. I don't know who exactly they're going to play there, but you can imagine they can flip them around and stuff. But Jose Abreu turned out to be one of the best players in all of baseball last year, hitting 36 home runs and hitting 317 and winning Rookie of the Year and being fourth at MVP voting, I believe. I expect him to be really good again. I don't think he'll be quite as good. I mean, he had a ridiculous year last year, but he's going to be a great hitter, I think, no matter what. And Adam LaRoche is a solid hitter. He has 20 home runs every year and draws walks and hits 260, 270. Yeah, he's a nice role player, support player. I mean, not role player, support player to a good ball club. And at second, looks like they have a couple options there. They have Emilio Bonifacio, who's a veteran, who's always been around for a while, and he's never really been that good, but he always seems to find a role on a team somehow. And Micah Johnson, a prospect who has a lot of speed and apparently is supposed to be pretty good. We haven't seen him in MLB action yet, so we really don't know. So second base is a huge question mark for this team. And at shortstop, you have Alexi Ramirez, who made the All-Star team last year, and he is a solid player. He can steal bases for a 270, 280 average and hit 10, 15 home runs. He's definitely a solid player out there, and he's an average defender. He's adequate out there defensively. So, yeah, he's a solid player for them, no doubt. And that's definitely not a place they need to upgrade. And at third, you have Connor Gillespie, who had kind of a breakout year last year. He's a left-handed hitter. He has really good statistics against right-handed pitching, but his left-handed statistics are pretty horrible. So maybe if they can get a platoon there, that'd be good. But I don't think he's going to hit 300 again, or I forget how high his average was exactly, but it was pretty high. If he only faced righties, he'd probably do that again, but he's not that great of a player, or he's not very good defensively either. So, but overall, the infield's pretty solid. They do have two question marks at second and third, but first and in short they're set. And yeah, a lot of positions on this team it's sort of questionable, but they have major league players at every position, and sometimes that's really all you need to be a contender. Then moving to the outfield, you have Melky Cabrera, who they signed this offseason from the Blue Jays, and he hit 300 last year and had a good year. I expect him to be good again, hit 280, 300, hit 10, 15 home runs, and be a solid player for them. And center, you have Adam Eaton, not the pitcher, the new guy. He's really fast, and he hit 300 last year and limited play time. I would imagine he's going to do that again. He's a good defender too. So I think they're set there. And then in right field, you have Viali Garcia. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but he is a young player who has some power, but not really much else. So, that's another question mark. Who's going to field that outfielder spot? I'm not really sure what to expect out of him. I don't know if he's going to be William Opeña or he's going to be, Jay Bruce. I don't know, but hopefully for them he's pretty good. And the DH, which I've already touched on a little bit, you have Jose Abreu and Adam LaRoche, who I don't know, maybe they flip-flop every day. The one guy can take a break, But, on the White Sox depth chart, they do have Abreu at first. Neither LaRoche or Abreu really have great defensively, so I don't know. I don't think it really matters who they put out there as far as like the fielder goes. But yeah, overall the outfield is respectable. I mean, right field's kind of a question mark, but center and left are filled with two solid players, so it's pretty good out there. So overall, I think this White Sox teams will score, a decent amount of runs, but they have some big question marks, especially at second and third, and Tyler Flowers really isn't all that great in right field, sort of question mark too. But all the other positions, as far as position player goes, are filled with good players. So, I mean, I think they're going to be, the top half of the league in runs scored, but not like top 5 or anything. They're going to probably be, somewhere between 10th and 15th in MLB in runs scored this year. Moving over to the starting pitching, you have Chris Sale, who's going to miss at least the beginning of April, maybe the whole month of April. But whatever production they get out of him will really help them, because he's one of the top players in the game. He's proven that he's he's sort of the ace, even though he doesn't really seem to get 34 starts. He usually misses a little bit of time every year, but he's an excellent pitcher. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with him. And then Jeff Samardzija, who last year had a big breakout year. He had an excellent strikeout per 9, and had an ERA under 3, and did it for 2 teams last year, Chicago and Oakland. He's a solid pitcher, and I've always liked him. I always thought he was going to be a good pitcher, and I'm glad to see that he has become a pretty good pitcher. Next, you have Jose Quintana. He has thrown 200 innings the past 2 years, and in 2013 he had a 3.5 ERA, and last year he had a 3.3 ERA. So he's a solid pitcher. I wouldn't expect him to win a Cy Young or anything, but he's definitely a worthy spot for any rotation. In the 4th spot, you have John Danks, who's been on the White Sox forever, and his best days are probably behind him. He had a big injury a couple of years ago, and he's had 4.5 ERA the last couple of years. The best he'll do is eat up some innings and be maybe slightly below average. And the next guy is Hector Neuse. He's a former Mariners pitcher who sort of had a not breakout year, but he actually pitched somewhat respectable last year for the White Sox. He had like an ERA of the low 4s, and that's pretty good, I guess. Not spectacular, but if they can get some production out of him at the back end of the rotation, that'd be pretty good. And the other guy I want to mention is Carlos Rodon, I think his name is pronounced. He's a young pitcher. He hasn't pitched in the major leagues at all yet, but he's one of the higher ranked prospects in all the game. So if they can get anything out of him, that would really probably help them at make a playoff push this year with their big offseason moves and some of their good players on this. They have some decent players on this team. And overall, I mean, the rotation is definitely good at the front and not so good at the end. I mean, I don't know what you can expect really from Danks and Nuese. So, but I mean, the first 3 I think are excellent pitchers. I mean, they're solid pitchers. All 3 of them can make the All-Star team this year. I think they're that good. But the back end, they're gonna have some problems there, I think. So yeah, I mean, they have a respectable rotation. And moving over to the bullpen, one of their other big signings this offseason, David Robertson, the former Yankees closer, is slotted in to be the closer, and I expect him to be a great closer for the White Sox, just like he was for the Yankees. Nothing really much to say there. He's a solid pitcher. And then the next guy I'm going to talk about is Jake Petrika. He has been pretty solid the last couple of years. He had a 3.20 ERA in 2013, and last year it was 2.96. So he's a respectable reliever, not all-star type pitcher, but he's respectable out there. Then Zach Duke came out of nowhere from Milwaukee last year and had a very good season for them as a lefty. And he signed with the White Sox this offseason, and I don't know what to expect out of him, really. I mean, he had been pretty bad for most of his career with the Pirates and bouncing around other teams. but maybe he's found his place in the bullpen. And I guess the White Sox think he has because they signed him, from the Milwaukee Brewers. I kept wanting to say Pirates because I grew up with him being on the Pirates. So yeah, and then you have Daniel Webb, who's an alright pitcher. He had a 390 ERA last year, and he's nothing special, but he can probably get the job done. And next they have Jake Putnam, I think his name is pronounced. He's a decent pitcher, but he's nothing special, like the last guy. And then you also have Nate Jones, who's injured and probably won't pitch much this year. I think he got Tommy John in August or July last year, but he had a decent year a couple years ago for the White Sox. So just thought I'd mention him as a potential player for them. And this bullpen has some good arms, but not much depth. Obviously getting Robertson and keeping Patrica and getting Duke, of course, is going to help them. And I have a question mark with Duke. I'm still not sold that he's going to be a good pitcher again. Because for the first 10 years of his career, he was awful. So I'm sort of skeptical with him. Then you have other guys. Daniel Webb and those kind of guys who are they're major league pitchers, but they're nothing special. So overall, I'd say this bullpen is going to be pretty average, probably in the middle of the league, and ERA, bullpen ERA. But that's kind of how I feel about all this whole team. Really, they're going to be middle pack and runs, middle of the pack and start ERA because the end of the rotation's not very good, and then the bullpen. Bullpens are fluky, so you never really know. But just on paper, I'm not a big fan of it really. Then that leads me into my prediction for this team, and I'm gonna say they're gonna be exactly 500 because while they have some great players on their team, I'm not blown away really. They have some huge question marks. Tyler Flowers, he sucks. He doesn't suck, but he's nothing special at all. Then you have second, who knows? If you have Bonifacio out there, he's horrible. And Gillespie had sort of maybe a fluky year last year at third. And the right field spot, you don't know what really expect out of Garcia, and the end of the rotation's bad, and question marks in the bullpen. But they have enough good players to make them respectable and win half of their games, basically. I'm saying 81 and 81. But it wouldn't surprise me if they made a run for the playoffs. But that's the optimistic view. The most optimistic I can go on this team would be a wild card spot. But realistically, I would say that they are a 500 team. And thanks for watching, everybody. I'm kind of tired, so I might sound like even more boring than I normally did today. So whatever. Like I said in that other video, I had fun doing it, so it doesn't matter. I got to talk about baseball and stuff. So thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.